Hi everybody, I'm Cass with College of Lore.
I am the Penitent with College of Lore.
Did you forget your name?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Alright, hi everybody. We're Cass, I'm the Penitent with College of Lore. I know your name. Welcome back to Let's Talk About Stuff.
Yeah, and today we are
Guess what
talking
we're
about
talking about today?
one of the most discussed things
In the D&D
in the D&D
community.
fandom.
Which is Critical Role. If you couldn't guess, I'm nervous about posting this video, because I don't want us to get hate.
It's okay, Critical Role fans are notoriously chill.
That's not true. I know that was sarcastic, I just need to be clear that that's not true. People are like rabid sometimes. I am a Critical Role fan. I try not to be crazy about it, but some people are a little bit crazy about it.
We are not going to be critical,
No.
necessarily.
But we are
this
gonna
is
roll.
more-
I'm gonna roll a d20
this
right
is more
now.
our general thoughts on Critical Role and what it is. It's one of the most discussed things that...
So if you don't know what Critical Role is, you might have been living under a rock, or if you've at least never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's a D&D actual play,
Or you may
which
have
we
heard-
do.
You know, you may have heard D&D, when you enter D&D, you may have heard Critical Role and been like, I don't want to watch hundreds of 4-hour videos.
See, we don't either. We've actually never watched most of it. We watched The Legend of Vox Machina.
I've watched more than you have.
You've watched several episodes more than me.
Yes.
At least one. I watched The Legend of Vox Machina and I loved it, and I really want to watch the rest of Campaign 1. But I have ADHD, and I don't blame anyone for not watching it, because a lot of people have attention spans that are not that good, even if you don't have ADHD.
And I have a day job a lot of the time that lets me listen to podcast things. I've done some day jobs for years where I've been able to do that.
I have not, and I couldn't even if I wanted to.
So, what is Critical Role?
Critical Role is an actual play. It is probably the most well-known actual play by like a pretty solid amount. It is DM'd by Matt Mercer, who is an awesome DM, who has created what some people have semi-affectionately, semi-unaffectionately called the Mercer effect.
Oh, yeah.
Which we may or may not talk about in this video.
Notably, it's not intentional. He has disavowed the effects of it.
Yeah, it's not his fault, guys. He unintentionally kind of caused a little bit of that. It's not his fault. He didn't do anything wrong. I love Matt Mercer. I think he's an incredible DM.
The Matt Mercer effect is when people yell at you on Twitter for your decisions you've made at the games.
Yeah, we're not going to talk too much about that. It is DM'd by Matt Mercer. It is a group of people that he was friends with, who are voice actors.
Yes, they're all professional voice actors.
Which is super cool. Originally, Critical Role started as like a home game thing where they were doing, in the first campaign, they were doing Pathfinder, and they actually adapted it up to 5e, which was a change for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Matt did some homebrewing, actually, to make that possible. I love the Gunslinger subclass for Fighter. I think it's super cool.
And hey, do you know that we do
actual plays? Yeah, I said that earlier a little bit. We do actual plays. We're not on Critical Role's level.
No.
I will admit that. I'll be the first to say that. But we do actual plays. We have a whole channel for it even. I'll link it in the description. It's called Lore Actual Play.
Yeah.
Upload every single day, which is pretty cool.
So, you know,
an hour of content every day, at least.
We're not going to run you through the story of Critical Role. This is not like a Critical Role recap.
No.
But
it's a big thing, and just like, you know, the other video we did on 1D&D, you know, it's a big hot topic in the fandom, in the following, and I thought we should talk about it a little.
You know, if you're wondering, you know, what is it? It's not the setting of D&D. It is not Faerun. It is not.
They have their own setting.
Exandria.
They have set a lot of different things and a lot of different stuff. There is actually a module that is based in Exandria now,
yes.
which I think is pretty cool.
Call of the Netherdeep. Yes. Which
it's super cool. We're gonna play it sometime, probably not on the channel, at least not immediately.
We'll get it eventually.
But it is a whole thing. It is the most popular D&D actual play. I would wager a lot of money on that.
It's that or Adventure Zone.
Yeah. I would put Critical Role higher. I would put Critical Role higher, but Adventure Zone is super popular, and it's also really cool. Mm-hmm. There are a ton of really, really cool D&D actual plays. Critical Role calls in a lot of people to guest star, both as players and as DMs. The Exandria Unlimited Calamity was DM'd by Brennan Lee Mulligan, who is incredible at DMing and is also a really funny person. And all of the players are great. Some of them came into the original first campaign with more experience than others. All of them make great characters and do great work. If Critical Role is not personally your thing, that's fine, but I feel like it's kind of a shitty thing to say that they're not good at what they do. No. They're incredible at what they do.
And also, they're not scripted.
They're not scripted. Stop saying they're scripted. That's a stupid thing to say. All of our stuff is pre-recorded. Just because it's pre-recorded and we post it on YouTube after does not mean it's not scripted.
If it were scripted, I would be stuttering a lot less.
Yeah. If it were scripted, I would, as a DM, have a lot less problems and have a lot less things that you guys do that make me go, oh shit, how do I respond to this?
You know, I think Matt obviously has some pre-planned story beats ahead of time, but I think most
DMs do that, I hope, because that's kind of necessary. But yeah, Critical Role's great. I really like it.
Yeah, so
it had a goal of what, like 750k on their Kickstarter or something, and they made 11 million, which goes to show that their fans are, one, a little bit crazy, and two, a lot of people really, really, really like it. And I can't blame them, because it's really well done.
Yeah, I think that Crit Role is amazing. I think it is an example of... People say don't use an example of D&D, and I know why.
It's not an example of average D&D. It is an example of exceptional D&D, and it's ideal. It's if everyone at your table is good at roleplay and good at combat and good at narrating an interesting story, that's what D&D looks like at its best. D&D at its best is incredible storytelling, it's cinematic, it's emotional, it's moving, and Critical Role manages all of that in an incredible way.
There are some people who will tell you, Matt Mercer effect, you know, not only not to expect
that kind of DMing.
Yes.
But that kind of playing.
That kind of playing, and to not expect to be emotionally moved, and to expect a casual, like, beer and pretzels type vibe from D&D. And I get that that's probably how most groups go.
It's not how we play.
Our actual play is also not an example of an average D&D game, but it is an example really of a D&D game. At least
to me. In my opinion, and this is something that comes from me as an avid role player, as someone who has written and talked about and created art and storytelling for a very long time, D&D is only really fun to me if there's emotional stakes in it, if you care about what you're doing. And if you don't, if you just want a dungeon crawl or something, that's fine. But to me, D&D is at its best when there's a combination of all of those things, and all of what you do, dungeon crawling, combat, exploration, it pushes a narrative, it tells a story. That's what I like, and Critical Role is an incredible example of how that works together.
Exactly. That being said, do not be upset if your Dungeon Master is not Matt Mercer quality.
Because very, very, very few people are that kind of quality, and that's not the kind of person you usually find just walking around on the street. I mean, as an example, you know, Matt Mercer, I talked about Brendan Lee Mulligan. These people have jobs creating content. You know, Matt Mercer is a professional voice actor. Brendan Lee Mulligan works for College Humor. These people have a ton of history creating engaging content already. If you don't have that history, it's not going to be the same, even if you've played for a long time.
And there are, you know, we have our actual play. It is it's not on that level.
No, it's not close. Not even close.
But I'm also not like an average person off the street. You aren't really either.
No. We have a lot of experience writing and telling stories. You write a little bit for a living.
I
on the side
write fiction pretty significantly. I have been a stage actor both casually and professionally for a number of years.
Yeah. I've done a little bit less of that than you, but I've been doing this a long time. I've written stories. I write music a lot on the side, which comes with a certain layer of emotional compellingness to it. That kind of comes from telling a story through music, which is something I like to do. Both of us have an extraordinary history of creating from a very young age.
There are some moments, even in our games, and I guess this ended up being more of a talk on the Matt Mercer effect than on Critical Role. We can tell you the Critical Role / the Matt Mercer effect. But especially in Critical Role, that you'll see these awesome moments, you'll be like, I want to have those. And I've had the experience of, you know, I want to have these moments.
And we've
had some cool moments, we've had some amazing moments, both in our live games and our home games. You're probably not going to get your first session out, but you will get there eventually.
Yeah, especially if you really work hard on your characters and get invested in the story, and everyone at your table does the same. I have read some incredible stories from other people who talk about like highlights of their games. We have Game Tales, obviously, as part of this channel, where we post some really great highlights in as dramatic a retelling as we can without you being there. We'll have some of those from our actual play, once more of that is up. There have been some moments that have brought me to tears. Several moments that have brought me to tears in games you've DM'd and vice versa. Some that have brought both of us to tears. There have been times when we've played where we just have to take a break and cry and process what just happened. And that's the kind of thing you can get out of a home game, even if, you see it in Critical Role and people tell you, like, oh, you'll never have that in your game. I don't think that's true.
No.
I think maybe it's a little bit of an unrealistic expectation to be that way all the time at that level, especially when you're starting.
Especially with strangers.
People you don't know, people who've just started playing.
And if the vibe you want is, this kind of all little tipsy, night out with the boys.
Yeah, if it's casual, that's also fine.
Just
be clear that that's what you're expecting, because that is a different expectation than this.
Again, Matt Mercer, it's a great example of why you should have a Session 0.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't talk about, and we have a Session 0 video on our channel, go watch it. If you don't talk about your expectations for a game beforehand, you might be sorely disappointed by you not having the Critical Role level.
I think the biggest thing about the DM and players of Critical Role they are examples to aspire to, but not benchmarks to compare yourself to.
Yes. Which is something that a lot of people seem to get conflated with each other.
I love the response of, please don't expect other people, please don't expect yourself. That's unreasonable expectations.
To match that.
Unreasonable expectations put on yourself. To just be Matt Mercer.
Or be anyone at that table.
But I do love the response of, if someone does expect you to be Matt Mercer as a DM, say, I'll be Matt Mercer when you're Marisha Ray.
Yeah.
And that is both a setup to some sort of weird fantasy, and also...
this can be flirting if you want. But it's also an expectation that, if I'm on that level, you should also be on that level. Yeah. I like the setup to like a romance here. I think that's a great way to start flirting with your DM.
Get some romance into your marriage by pretending to be famous people.
Please don't. Do it if it's in the privacy of your own home.
If you were looking for a game full of combat, full of, I say like, Critical does no combat.
Critical has a lot of combat, but it's cinematic, it's narrative.
Yeah, full of like random encounters, full of...
just fighting stuff for the sake of fighting stuff.
Full of this purely comedic, jokey vibe. There are D&D podcasts out there for you. Honestly, Early Adventure Zone fits a lot of that vibe.
Yeah. They get into some emotional territory, as I think even most things that start lighthearted tend toward that if you really get invested in them.
But if you're after a compelling story, tear-jerking moments, all this stuff, you can't really get any better than Critical Role.
Yeah. It is kind of the gold standard, and I think there's a good reason for that. They're good at what they do.
I am more familiar with Campaign 1, Campaign 2 than I am with Campaign 3 at the moment. Campaign 3 is currently ongoing. They scream.
People do, apparently. After the episode the other day.
They stream on, or pre-record now, but they release on Thursdays?
Yes.
Thursdays.
It's Thursday night.
This is not sponsored by Critical Role.
It's not.
But it could be.
It could be. Please? 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 Matt Mercer, I'm praying to you right now. Pay attention to me. I aspire to be that kind of DM someday. And I would cry if Matt Mercer spoke to me.
I'm going to speak this into the world. I think the highlight of my whole entire life as someone who makes D&D content for a living would be a guest spot on Critical Role. I think that would be the whole entire highlight of my life.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That would be incredible.
We're big fans here.
We are. This is not sponsored, and there are some things that we will say that might be critical at some points.
Or roll.
But Critical Role is an incredible thing. It's an incredible example of an aspiration, if not a benchmark, like you said.
Yeah.
If you want to look at a gold standard and say, I want to practice until I'm that level, that's a great way to start.
Also, if you run home games, they are a really fantastic resource for characters to shove into.
Yeah.
Some of your home games. I have I've had games where I've played as Critical Role characters because we all agreed to do that.
Yeah.
I've used some villains from Critical Role in
It goes great. Some of them are very versatile. You can fit them in a lot of places. I'm not 100% decided on whether we'll ever do that somewhere that other people might see. We're still researching the legality of that.
I'm curious about something.
Yeah.
I want to put this energy out for any of our followers right now.
Yeah.
There is one character in the campaign that Cass is running.
Yes.
Critical Role campaign. One character in the group called the Snakes, vaguely based on
a Critical Role
villain.
Yes. Guess which one it is?
Yes.
Guess which one it is?
Guess who it is and who the vague inspiration came from.
Yeah. I don't know if people will pick up on it. I'm curious if they will. I'd be entertained to see.
Yes.
Yeah. Critical Role's great. You can be great even if you're not that. And I think that's an important thing to consider. They are a gold standard. They are something you can maybe not compare yourselves to, but aspire to be. And if you really want to do that, engaging with that content is a great way to learn more about how that kind of DMing and playing can look. They're a great example.
You don't need to be Crit Role, and holding yourself to that standard is just going to lead to burnout.
But you can have just as much fun and get just as emotional.
Just have a good time.
Yeah. D&D is fundamentally a game about enjoying yourself and telling a story that you personally want to enjoy. Whether that's a story about succeeding in a massive dungeon crawl or a huge combat or exploring the wilderness, or if it's a really narratively driven or roleplay-focused story or somewhere in the middle of that. D&D is about crafting the story you want to tell, and Critical Role does that, and you can do that too.
Yeah. So, with that being said, please check out Critical Role.
Yeah. And check out our actual play to see us grow in that same transit path. That's somewhere we'd like to be one day. Watch us grow on that journey. Tell us your stories tell us your high moment that you found in Critical Role. Maybe warn for spoilers if it's something more recent. Something that you really liked. Maybe tell us something you didn't like that you hope that we don't do in our game.
Yeah. Tell us any of that, really. And I think the last thing I want to say is just kind of harping back on the Matt Mercer effect, not throwing yourself into it.
Yeah. Don't get too down on yourself.
I have some neurological issues.
Yeah.
Not like significant brain handicaps, but I have a brain fog effect.
Yeah.
From a chronic pain condition that leads me messing up words or forgetting words in the middle of sentences.
Yeah.
Which can really hinder DMing.
Yeah.
And I can find myself comparing myself to Matt Mercer.
Someone who's eloquent, has that kind of speech practice. Also, he's a voice actor. Don't compare yourself to that. He has so much more practice.
And I remember, this person is talented at what they do. I am pausing and forgetting words as I'm DMing because I literally have a condition, and I'm not nearly as practiced, and
you don't have the lead-in skill for that, and even if you did, there's something else going on there.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, what that means, though, is just because you have something like that going on doesn't mean you can't tell a great story, because like I've said, you've made me sob both tears of sadness and incredible joy in games that we've played together. You've done that with lots of people. You tell a moving story. And I have a similar issue sometimes, and I think I tell a pretty moving story.
Yeah, you absolutely do.
There is nothing that should stop you from trying your best to have fun. Whether it's because you think you don't compare to someone else, or because you feel like you have some kind of handicap or problem getting in your way, you don't. There is nothing that can stop you from enjoying yourself in this way, if you really try.
TLDW, don't compare yourself to Crit Role, but do watch Crit Role.
Do watch Crit Role, and do take it as an example of what things can be at their best.
And watch our stuff, whether on this channel, on our actual play channel, College of Lore Actual Play, or on our short channel, College of Lore Shorts. Follow me on Twitter at the Penitent COL.
Yep.
Follow College of Lore on Twitter at College of Lore YT.
Yep.
Anything else before we...
Take care of yourselves. Treat yourselves with kindness. Treat your players and DMs with kindness. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. Subscribe for more.
And remember to ask yourself one very, very important question. How do you want to do this?
Isn't that copyrighted? Can we say that?
We're just gonna bleep it out.
Yeah.
I think we can say that phrase.
It's fair. Alright. See y'all, everybody!
Thank you for watching this video from College of Lore. Remember to like this video, subscribe to join the party, and have a fantastic adventure.